Section 2.1, expressions. All right, so we're getting more into the type of thing you normally think of with algebra. We're going to see lots of X's and things today. But we got to get through this so we can get this stuff a little bit more interesting. So an expression is a constant, a variable, or a combination of constants and variables using operations and grouping symbols. All right, so you're used to seeing these. These are things like 2x plus 5. Okay, and something that you're going to be asked to do in this section is to switch back and forth from English to math symbols to English. So here I've given you something in math symbols, 2x plus 5. We want to write that in English. This would be 2 times a number plus 5. And that's not the only correct answer. I could have said the product of 2 and a number plus 5, or the product of 2 and a number added to 5. Lots of different ways I could have said it. Generally, I'm going to give you English, and I'm going to make you go to sentence. I'm going to give you English sentences. I'm going to make you go to math symbols. So let me give you a few examples here. I might give you 8 minus the number. All right, when you have minus or you have division, you have to be careful because order does make a difference. And something that I always tell my students that helps is instead of the words the number, think of a real number. For example, if I told you 8 minus 10, would you write it as 8 minus 10 or 10 minus 8? Well, if I give you 8 minus 10, you would write 8 minus 10. So 8 minus the number, I think you would write as 8 minus x. But you got to be careful. I might give you subtract 7 from the number. All right, so this time take 7 from the number. From the number means I have to start with a number. If I told you to take 7 from 10, I think you would tell me the answer is 3. You'd go 10 minus 7. So in this case, subtract 7 from the number should be x minus 7. Okay, so you need to be careful about subtraction and division because order does matter. If I give you adding and multiplying, you can really put them in any order you want because order doesn't matter in those cases. So let me give you a couple words that you might see for multiplication, a couple you might see for division. The product of 3 and a number. That was just 3x. And notice for multiplication, you can put symbols in between them, but you don't have to. I just wrote it as 3x. If you want, you could write 3 times x. That would be fine, whichever you prefer. So product, that's a common word for multiplication. A not so common word for multiplication that you see sometimes is the word of. I might tell you 15% of a number. And 15% of, this common notation for 15% is 0.15 as a decimal, and in that case of means multiply. So that's kind of a sneaky one to look out for. Of can very often mean multiply. And let's do a couple division ones here. The ratio of a number and 2. Okay, ratio is a word for division. So that would be x over 2. You could write it as x divided by 2. Either one of those would be fine. The other word you'll commonly see for division is quotient. The quotient of 5 and a number. Generally, when you see the word quotient, the number that comes first goes on top, thing you see second goes on bottom, so that's 5 divided by x. And again, you could write it 5 divided by x. You could write it that way if you prefer. All right, kind of the last thing you're going to see in this section is they're going to give you a table, and they're going to give you a rule for helping you fill in the table. Let me see if I can find one of those in the book. Copy it out here. So I have number 21 on page 61. It says the enrollment fee for a college student is $87 per hour. Complete the table to help find an expression that describes the total cost of enrolling in N hours. Show the arithmetic to help you see a pattern. Okay, well, if I take one college credit, it says it costs $87. So one credit is going to cost me $87. 2 credits is going to be $87 times 2. I grabbed my calculator and I got $174. Cost of 3 credit hours is going to be 87 times 3, which is $261. Cost of 4 credit hours is 87 times 4, $348. So how much does it cost in general? Well, in general, it costs $87 times however many credits you're taking. Okay, so that gives us a nice rule. So what if we wanted to take 10 hours? What is the cost for taking 10 hours? Well, now we have a nice formula, and we can use our formula, and we can do what's called evaluating the formula. So basically what I'm telling you is n equals 10, cost equals what? But I have a formula for cost. Cost is 87 times n. So I just take the number 10 and I plug it in. Cost is 87 times 10, which is $870.